What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Dummy Wormy. I'm coming at you with another video. And when it comes to Dragon Age Veilguards, things haven't been going very well ever since the initial announcement. When gamers came out in force to basically say, hey, this looks awful, this looks ridiculous, this just looks pathetic. And ever since it came out, it hasn't really been doing that well. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world, but, you know, you come over here to That Park Place, ever since the initial launch, it's been basically keeping at 89,000 concurrent players. And when we come over here to SteamDB as of right now, yeah, it's still all-time peaking at 89,000 concurrent players at an all-time peak. In the past 24 hours, yeah, 61,000 players, and players right now is 53,000. But I have it on max right now for a very specific reason. This is November 3rd, okay? The game launched back here on October 31st. Starts going up on that initial Friday, on that initial Saturday goes up, peaks on Sunday, and has just gone downhill. And it only started hopping up again right around, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right around Friday, but it's no longer anywhere near that peak that they saw roughly last Sunday. And it has actually been going downwards. Yes, we'll probably see another, you know, little bump, and then we'll probably continue to dwindle as players dip out and say, you know what, this is actually not that good of a game, and we're not actually interested. And it's not just that we're seeing right now. You know, people are taking note of what the Steam numbers are, but when it comes to some of the physical copy numbers, we can come over here. That we had a whole report last week that came out and said that, hey, 14% of Dragon Age, the Veilguard physical retail orders were canceled. 14% of the physical orders before launch ended up getting canceled because the people weren't liking what they were seeing within the marketing, within some of the reviews, within what people were posting online and what they were seeing. They were like, you know what, we're not going to keep going down this route. We're going to go somewhere else. And then recently, there's rumors going around that it's actually selling less than Star Wars Outlaws. Now, that is actually somewhat understandable because when we track some of Star Wars Outlaws numbers, they weren't like this. Now, they were a little bit higher, but yeah, it's starting to look more and more like Star Wars Outlaws actually sold more copies than Dragon Age the Veilguard. Being that it's not really a one-to-one comparison there, it is sad to see Star Wars in that state. Star Wars should never be in that state, but Dragon Age being more of a niche community, more of a niche style game, kind of has its own little thing that's never been that big, but still, it's not doing as well as it should be doing. This game does need to sell around 3.5 million copies to just break even, and it doesn't even look like it's getting anywhere near that. Then you have this. Multiple inside sources support claims of abysmal Dragon Age the Veilguard sales. Yeah, and I know I don't really take the inside sources thing all that credible all the time. I usually take this with a grain of salt, large grain of salt, but it ain't looking good. It ain't looking like it's actually playing out that well. And when you actually start, again, you use the SteamDB charts, you see who's actually playing the game. You see how people are actually interacting with the game. It really doesn't shock me that it's not selling well. It actually isn't a surprise to see people aren't buying this game and the sales aren't there. People aren't wanting to engage with it. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all for not wanting to engage with this game. As sales continue to collapse, I'm not really shocked that insiders are coming out and saying, oh, they're not doing very well. But you want to know why I know sales aren't doing well? Outside of the insiders, outside of all this, outside of SteamDB, it's because shortly after the announcement that, oh my god, the game's released, and oh my god, it's playing, everybody's gonna go have fun. You want to know how I know they're not predicting that this game's gonna do well? Shortly after the game released, only either the day after or a few days after, they came out with this report: Dragon Age the Veilguard will not have any DLC or expansions as BioWare shifts focus to Mass Effect 5. This is a condemnation. Okay, this is your post to know that the game is a dud. Because if it was selling really well at launch, they wouldn't have said this. They said this either the day after launch or just a few days after launch. I can't remember the precise date. The reason this is so big and so massive is because every single BioWare game has had massive DLCs and massive expansions, big story aspects that were added with these DLCs. So when you see, all the reports that sales aren't doing well, all the reports that things aren't going very well, people are returning the games. There are reports that, yes, people are trying to get the games returned. People are trying to return every aspect of this game. There's calls to get returns. There's calls for refunds. And it's just, it's losing the money. There's nobody here to buy the game. This game isn't producing the numbers, and you want to know why it's not producing the numbers. You want to know why people have checked out from this game. It's things like this. The new Dragon Age game will include customizable top surgery scars. What? Why do I need top surgery scars in my fantasy RPG game? Why do I need anything in regards to that in my fantasy RPG game? If I want to play a female, or if I'm a female wanting to play a male, I will just play a male. Why do I have this here? Oh, it's because of representation. It's because of this whole idea that you need to see yourself in the character that you create. You need to be a part of yourself in the character that you create. You can't have this air of escapism and play as an actual dude. No, you need to be a trans person, so much so that they even have you acknowledge that you're a trans person. You remember right here, we saw these screenshots going around at the beginning. You actually picking the identity, picking the thought that you are trans gives you different dialogue options, gives you different things. You could choose to be trans in this world, guys, even though that, again, that doesn't really make logical sense, because wouldn't you just play as the person that you want to be? If you're a male who thinks yourself is a female, wouldn't you just play the female character? Well, no, you want to see yourself. You want to see your representation. You want to do all this. So then we're going to have you identify as trans. We're going to have you be a part of this whole identity. Oh, what else do we have? Oh yeah, we had these screenshots, and I've shown you countless different clips, and I'm just showing you screenshots now just to help you understand why this is happening. Some of my friends in Minoros talk about not feeling comfortable in their own skin as a man, as a woman. They're trying to indoctrinate people. They're pushing the identity politics here. This is full-fledged identity politics. This is full-fledged wokeism. This game is just designed by ideologues through and through. You see it in the character designs. You see it in the character customization. You see it in the dialogue. You see it all over the place. There's clips everywhere about how abysmal the dialogue is, how abysmal the gameplay is, how just focused in on identity politics it truly is, while they lacked an actual story development, an actual dialogue development, an actual gameplay development. Everything else is just bleh, and it's solely ideological. It's solely pushing identity politics. It's solely pushing this woke agenda. So again, and don't just take my word for it, guys. Again, we had Moon Studios CEO describe it as infantile and terrible. We've had reviewers such as Skill Up, or as some people like to call him, Shill Up, come out and even say the game was bad. There's countless people saying this is a bad game. This is an awful game. This is a game filled with identity politics. This is a game filled with just BS after BS after BS. And you're just seeing it out. And you're seeing the ramifications of this. You're seeing what they actually do, what happens when you keep going down these routes. People check out. People refuse to buy. People refuse to be a part of it. People cancel pre-orders. People call for refunds. People refuse to play the game at all. And again, you come over here to SteamDB. I know it's on the uptick right now. It's tracking a dip during the week. It's on the small uptick now, but it's not back at that 89,000. It's nowhere near that 89,000 as of right now. If I refresh this, let's see what numbers it sees right now when I refresh, okay? Oh, look, right now it's dipping again. 47,000 concurrent players right now on a Sunday night. I know it's a Sunday night, but Saturday didn't see these numbers. It's dipping again. It's tracking downwards again. And we're probably going to see it continue to track downwards as people dip out, as people refuse to play. Your 89,000 is probably your peak over on Steam. Everywhere else, it's probably even less. People are not going to be buying this game. People are going to be seeing all the reviews. People are seeing all the clips. People are seeing what's actually going on here. And they're thinking, you know what? We're not going to be a part of this. We're not going to keep giving into this ideology. We're not going to keep funding this stuff. We're going to go somewhere else. There's probably an indie game out there that we can go play. There's Starship Troopers you can go play. There's Black Myth Wukong. There's all sorts of different games you can go play that isn't chocked full of identity politics. And after last Tuesday's results, after what happened in America, we recently discovered that the majority of people truly despise what is going on here, truly think that this stuff is disgusting, disturbing, and they want no part of it. And you're seeing a rejection. You've been seeing a rejection of all of this. And it's so nice to see. This is the only sad thing. The saddest part about this, none of these companies are going to recognize that. None of these people are going to realize that, oh my gosh, we just got completely smacked down. We need to move away from this. No. What we're actually seeing is the exact opposite. We're seeing the true believers come out and say, no, we need to double down. We need to double down. We need to double down. We need to push this ideology harder. And that's the saddest part about this. The fact that this game lost is, yes, another rejection of this ideology, and it's plain to see why it happened. But the sad part is they're just going to double down. They're going to triple down. They're going to quadruple down. And they're going to keep pushing this until there's nothing left to push. That's the sad reality of all this. But I'm going to leave it there. Let me get you guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it up, friends. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video live, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.